So I'm just doing a quick YouTube recording. I'm going to look at the Year 7 results from Miss Wilson. And so I've shown you all this quickly while I've been in your classroom, but this is a revision. I am going to send you the link, but I actually have my link attached to here because I've been in it so often. And I will send you my password as well. So first of all, I will log in as a teacher. And as I said, I'm happy for you. I'm going to give everyone my password because I think it's interesting for you to go in there and just have a look overall. I think it's interesting. So before I go anywhere though, I have got this poster which is not up in the library. At this stage, we only have it from 10 through to 16. I'm going to have to get more books. Having a look at the results for Year 7, I'm going to have to get a couple of books for the very lower end. And this poster is not going to be up. This is age 8, which means if they might have a Year 2 level of English. But of course, they're not going to be fixed to one colour. They can go into another colour. If they are a very low level 4, it's always better that, just keep an eye on the level that they're having. But if they're 4.9, they sometimes if they're really passionate about a book, they might jump up to there. It's just a guide and they're taking responsibility for their moving about. So this is the age of the students. It's the colour code on the back of the book. And this is what we have identified the students via their pre-testing. All right. So with the pre-testing that Miss Wilson's class has done, I don't think you'll mind showing this, Jess, because I want to show quickly the variety that you've got here. So you go in the star reading and you can see what you're going to really have a look at is reports. The students went in the star reading to do their test. We're seeing their pre-test, but they'll also go in there to complete their quiz. And the quiz is, you can see, I'll go back to here. Down here, oh no, I don't have it on there. There's a sticker on the back of each one, and they've also got maturity levels and class levels. Okay, so for this one here, I'm going to look at the diagnostic. What this diagnostic tells me is how long they've spent on the test. If they spend too little time on the test, that means it's not valid. I'm going to go to Miss Wilson's ESL, not Wilson. That's because Miss Wilson has an ESL student in her class. I'm going to view report. And this is going to give us a diagnostic report. This is a concern. Ruby only took 12 minutes and 5 seconds to do hers. That means that she probably did a fair bit of guessing, but she's still here, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. When she reads her book and goes back in, we'll see. Because she's got vocabulary of 84, she might just be a quick reader. But they did tell me that it was meant to be in that area. So if she's Year 11 age, if you have a look back at my with ages, you can see, don't mean to do that one. You can see that she is in the silver group. She's the Year 11, 5 to 59. She could also, and her zone approximate development, they're looking at her moving up to 6.5 in a short term period. So they're hoping that she'll move up one year group. So she'll be looking at that colour. What else have we got? I think that's mainly it on here. The 53 percentile rank. I don't think I'd worry about showing them this at this stage. I'm going to show you what I would suggest that you do with the group, because you're only going to have them prior to and long enough for them to borrow a book at their age level. If you're not going to have time to give them an individual score or show them this. Basically, it's just nice for your feedback here. We've got another one. This one was 16 minutes and 13 seconds, which is surprising because, but it's not too bad. This is reading age of Matilda Cartwright, 14 years old. So looking at this one, her colour code would be blue. All right. So Matilda, that's her proximate development. We're having a look at that. And you can see her vocabulary was very high, text was very high, text was very high. So this is the diagnostic report. There are three things I'm going to show you. All right, so we're going to select a different report this time. This time I'm going to show you a summary of the class. And this summary will show you a view of the report and their ranges. So immediately you can see here that the top student here is Amelia Duffy, which doesn't surprise me because she's a huge reader, and she has a reading age of 16-year-old. All right, so that is what the expectation is there. The lowest in the class is, at this stage, Ruby Johnson. So there's not just this incredible range in this one. You're quite lucky, Jess, because it's a 9-year-old age group. So looking at that, the 9-year-old age group, black, and then you've got, what was the top one? Amelia? She was 16. The thing with this 16 age group is that it's mainly classics, so her maturity level really isn't there yet for reading that. But if I would be encouraging her to start reading the children's classics to make sure that she's covered all of those. That was somewhere where you could push. All right, so that is the report. I would suggest that you just tell them what colour they are meant to start with, and that would be the best way to do it. And I'm going to send you this colour chart, and you can check on your own and print this off, write on it what colour they're looking for, communicate to the student, and then next term you can give them some more information. And this is where you would have a look at for more information. So you can, when you've got time for that 15 minutes of reading, you've got time to take one student at a time and go through with her plan. Right, so we've got a planning. This shows instructional planning. So if you had that 15 minutes with reading and you decided to, I want this one. If you wanted to take an individual student through her planning, got Wilson again, view report. You would take her, you would write down probably in your own words, being year 7. You can see Ruby at this point is here, and that is where she's projected to move to, and she can check whether she does that. Let me see, Ruby Blackman, Alice Boffa, she wasn't there today. I'm just looking for, okay, so we've got, for example, this one here, her age group is quite high, and again you can see that slightly projected towards it. What the program is suggesting she focus on, she's at a year 10 reading level, so read a range of purposes and reading styles, inclusive, discursive text, skimming, reading in a non-linear way, so a variety of ways of reading. Analyse the depth, so static versus flat versus round of characters and how this affects the plot and theme. So you can see once you're up into that year 10 level, the questions that we're asking them is much more complex. Across a range of reading, analyse how the author's language choices contribute to the overall effect of the information text on the reader. Example, where the language used suggests a level of unjustified expertise or authority. So there's no way you can give that information to them, but you could interpret them and even give them a quick table that you want them to focus on. I'll just see if we've got, okay, I'm just going to show you if we've got a very bottom student in this class. Most of them are in the green, so you're quite lucky, Jess. That must be, so that's the second class. You can see they're all, Amelia Duffy, she's the top one. She has a year 11 reading level. Interestingly, her essay writing is not as strong as her reading level, and we've discussed that this year, and it's partly because when she puts the book down, this is she's not concentrating what she's read. This is where this will help her. So she's just done the pre-testing. Now this is going to be good for her because she's going to be They're going to be marking her on what she has read. So it's actually going to improve her substantially. That's what, it's always surprising sometimes. They get so carried away with a book that they forget to remember the details. You can see here, analyse, compare and contrast literary texts and insight their context as well as their content. The author's perspective on women in Victoria literature. Consider the difference in women's rights then as opposed to today. I mean, they're quite comprehensive. Okay, so I know that sounds over the top. I'm going to show you a bottom one later. I'll just show you how, if I was Jess, I was going to go into this one and I might decide, oh, look, I don't want to have an individual meeting with kids. I want to have a meeting and see where they are percentile rank. And I might look at them and think, okay, so I'm going to put these people into groups. So down here in the class here, so this one, I'm going to have, this one is for Dunoon. So I'll show you here. In Dunoon, you can see that I put international student, Cassandra and Lily Hay into one group, whereas I've got the top students here in a group. So I'll show you how I do that in a minute. I'm just going to preview the report. And it is going to give them, you can give them plans to work on. Of course, you're not going to be doing it before the school holidays. You might only do it once they've completed a book. This is an ongoing planning. So group one we've got here. So Mr. Noons is quite good because it's just such a contrast. I've got Samantha Burns, Amber Cook, Eloise Martin, Ava Nichols. All right. They are year 10 word reading, comprehension year 10, year 10 perhaps in understanding, interpreting text. So you might draw up a plan for them and explain to them in a table that you want to draw on knowledge of the context of non-fiction text. So you might want them to start reading some newspaper articles or social, historical, cultural content in order to bring in some information. We do also have books available to them in non-fiction. You can analyse, distinguish characteristics and techniques noted by authors. Okay, so I won't go through that, but you can see where you've got the double arrow. I'm going to jump straight down to the very bottom where the beautiful Lily Hay, Clarion McGrath, Isabel Poole, and we've got a few here. Now, the reason some of them are here is because I haven't taken the test yet. Learn and use technical terms related to the language, style, effect, imagery. Continue to read wider range of fiction. Plays, I think we're pushing it. Fiction, just a wide range is good. Wide range of information on fiction text. They've all got that. You will be looking at persuader, science topics, processes, but even texts that you're doing for English at the moment, for advertising. Adapt reading style dependent on the purpose of reading. Now down here, so this is interesting. I haven't come across this before. Recite a wide range of poems from memory spanning different forms and moods. I would suggest that this, I haven't come across that before. I just wonder what they do with this top one. Obviously there's engaging, responding to text. Sorry, I'm just going to jump up again. So this is group 5. Okay, they're obviously focusing on memory. You might have some fun poems that you want them to learn, just some really fun, really short ones. There was a man from Gun River, I don't know. Explain and justify personal opinions, views about literary text, just talking out loud and explaining about the story at home. Explain and justify personal opinions. So they're really summarising in this one, the very lower one, and describing, not more complex verbs. Okay? All right, so that's this one. I'm going to show you how, in a class, you group a group. So I'll go into Miss Wilson's class. How are we going for time? Okay, so report. I'm going to go into a class. I've got Mr. Noons here, but I'm going to change it up here. I need to change it up here. And it is going to be Jess Wilson's. Okay. Here I am going to update. I might have to update 23. update. Oh, okay, so I know what I've done. Sorry, that's ESL. I want actually this Miss Wilson's one. Then preview report, and you can see here. So all the girls in Year 7 are being tested and the international students. Maybe it's not ready yet. Just one more try. Testing end date. I might just put it onto 24th. I might have to look into that a bit. I don't know why this is. Must be on or before. I don't want ESL. That one. And testing end date must be on or before today's date. Well, I'll try again. It must have been on the wrong one. So Wilson, okay. At the moment, nothing's been chosen, right? And I'm going to have to try and get these girls later. So, obviously, this little girl, she'll be on her own, but I think I'll start off with the top. Actually, I could go to the bottom. I'm going to put her, oh no, maybe I won't. I think I have to start from up here. If I want more groups, I change it up here. So this one I'm going to put in one. I might put these in together, these three. Actually, I might put them all in together. I think they probably could focus together. Amelia likes to be with people. Okay, so we've got a new group. Now I'm going to go down to 899. Then I'm going to get a new group. 816, just where there's the big gaps that you might want to use. 772, so I'm just jumping down to 17, 685, then there's another one, 621, 579, and then there's another jump. I might have them all in together. That might be a bad way of doing it. So I will review the report. And you can see now that we've got the number of students, medium range, the range of ability. They go from one point to the next. They are in order of group. You will be advising this particular group reading analysis, main and subsidiary themes. Main subsidiary themes, you'll simplify the language. Right down to, it's the very bottom one. Here we go. Demonstrate awareness. Consider different accounts. Confidently infer. So quite different verbs. I hope this helps. The email I'm sending you is obviously going to have my password and the link that you'll go into. Again, I hope 10 to 15 minutes every lesson. And don't worry about all of this detail. Prior to the holidays, just give them a colour code to look at, and whether it be the lower end of the colour code or the higher end. And then I think that's enough. They just borrow the book. And as I'm going to print off a whole lot of comprehension, so if girls don't bring their book, they can do that instead. And if they continue not to bring their book, then they will have to come and do some reading with me in the library during lunch. But they won't want to do that. It's just a matter of them getting used to it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having me in the class. I hope it all goes well. I hope you find it really useful. But if you don't, I'm really happy to get some feedback. We'll see how it goes for this term. And thank you for your support.